Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to my living room, because once again it is the middle of winter, and in order to save the car, which I've just washed, from getting covered in poo, I thought, well, may as well just do it from the living room again. Some people actually like that. Some people are like, oh, you're more expressive because you are talking to the camera, rather than just, like driving. Some people are like, I prefer you driving because I get to see all what's going on in the real world. But there's only so many routes you can take around this fine county, because the county is in fact a peninsula, and we are surrounded on three sides by the sea, the ocean, the wet stuff, which is fine. But somebody came back to the channel, I think last week, and they were like, I've been away from your channel for so long, 8 years, but I've come back to see what's going on, and things have improved a little bit. And I'm like, I'm glad they've improved a little bit. So, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, or if you've been watching since at least Christmas, you may notice that I've made a few changes. A few changes to the way Stranded Deep specifically is recorded, or at least edited. Because I'm always making changes to how things are recorded. But at the end of a video, what I'm doing is I'm putting clips of older series that have been completed, because there's like 2,500, nearly 3,000 videos on the channel that some people coming and watching Stranded Deep might not know exist. So at the end of a Stranded Deep, and specifically that, no other videos, because I don't think many people get to the end of a Baldur's Gate 3 video, but I have been going through the archives, and the archives, well, they are kept on hard drives. So I've got a stack of external hard drives, because even though the computer has like 13 terabytes of storage or something ridiculous, I haven't counted it recently, you can't store all your videos on there because, you know, videos take up huge amounts of space. So I went through and I looked up the first video we ever did. The first video, which was a Left 4 Dead 2 playthrough. And things were different back then. First thing that leapt up to me was the audio. The audio was complete ass. Well, was it ass? I mean, the channel's been going on for nearly 12 years. Is it ass? Yes. But is it really ass? Yes. I mean, compared to now, yeah, absolutely. So when the channel started, this was actually an idea put forward by James. James was like, I want to record videos and put them up on YouTube of Minecraft, specifically Minecraft. So it was like, let's do Minecraft videos. So we did experiment with that. The first video that we ever recorded was in fact a Minecraft video, which you guys have never seen because it never went live. It was difficult. I was trying to record all the audio on one computer, and we had, was it something wire, not LimeWire, it's something wire that split the game audio and spoken audio, so you could have two separate audio tracks, which even back then I knew was super important. And essentially that kept messing up because we were using a bunch of mods on Minecraft, one of which was Mistcraft for extra worlds, and every time we went to a different world, the audio would start looping in my headset, and I had to fix it. And then one of the people we were playing with had to go away because Warcraft drama. There was drama in their guild, and they elected to just kind of leave everyone for a bit. So that was a thing that happened way back then. So the first video was never put on the internet. We were going to do a YouTube series on Minecraft, and it never went out. It never got beyond like the pilot. But wait, there's more. Well, of course there's more. The first actual series that went out was Left 4 Dead 2, and it was Left 4 Dead 2 Versus with what would become Reject Gamers, and that was Jordan and a bunch of friends. And basically, I did what I could. We got into a lobby, and it was like, okay, right, I'll do all the technical stuff. I'll do all the technical stuff. I'll set up YouTube. I'll look up and see how we need to edit this. I'll get all the settings and systems and stuff ready. And I was like, hey, could somebody do an intro? And everyone was just like, I don't want to do an intro. I don't want to do an intro. Which is how everyone sounded back then. Cool. So I was like, all right, I'll try and do it. And I think I did it 3 or 4 times, messed it up, and I was like, whatever, we'll do it in post. Which is why the very first video on the channel has a really kind of embarrassing intro made on, it's just a text. It's text on the screen. It was done in Photoshop, and it uses, I think, Sergo Script as a font. It's everything that could be wrong about that intro for the first video on the channel is wrong. But I was watching it back after nearly 12 years, because the channel will be 12 years old in March. I think that the channel was set up in March, and I think the first video went out in April, something like that. I think that's the timeline. 2013. 2013, yeah. Yeah, nearly 12 years. So I was looking at it, and I was like, the audio on this isn't great. There were two problems back then. The first problem was that we were using headset mics. In fact, we were using the... let's see. You're using the Sennheiser PC350 headset, which has an inbuilt microphone. So you would put it on your head, and you have an inbuilt microphone, and it's this one's actually had the cups replaced because the foam on the cups eventually just goes a little bit, it just flakes off and gets a bit thin. So you can get replacement ear cups for a lot of headsets. The headset mic kind of sounded like we were talking through a toaster. Toaster mic? What? Yeah, it wasn't good. And the other thing we were doing is using mixed down audio. So everyone was talking in Mumble, which is like a VoIP program. And all the audio from everyone was mixed into the same WAV file, which meant if someone was too quiet, you couldn't bring them up to the level of everyone else. And if someone was too loud, you couldn't reduce their volume down to the level of everyone else, which was a bit of a problem. Especially if you've got someone like James, he's got a mouth like a foghorn, he has. Except when he sits back, and he was super quiet, and that was always the problem we had. So the first videos were mixed down, and they used headset mics, and that's why they sound not great. And then later on, everyone, I think James and I got Samsung CO1Us, and my brother still uses that to this day on his streaming channel. So the Samsung CO1U is an XLR. No, it's not. It's a condenser mic. It's a condenser mic with a USB connection. So this is the Samsung CO1U. This is the microphone that we used to use. It's heavy. It's got a shock mount so that if you hit the microphone arm, you're not hearing bongs and bings from the microphone arm. This is freaking heavy, really heavy, and that's not all we had on the end of the microphone arm. So we had that, which is a condenser mic, which was a significant improvement, and then we had this, a pop shield, which is bloody long. So you would end up, it's like putting your face against the pop shield to talk, and that takes out plosives. So the P's, the sort of burst of air that you get out of your mouth, and that was the Samsung PSO one, which you could probably see the writing on it. Yeah, and that all was hanging off of this Chinese-made microphone stand. So we had this Chinese microphone arm. I opted for this one. This is the original microphone arm that I've been using for all of this time. And here's the thing. It's done very well. I know James got a Rode microphone arm that kind of fell apart after a while. It was a really expensive, well, comparatively expensive. And yeah, it just kind of crumbled. I don't know why. Something went wrong on it. And things weren't as good as they could have been. But wait, there's more. There's more, because that was fine for a while. I think there were some issues with Samsung. There was a lot of clicks and pops that were just part of how it recorded. So a lot of clicks, lots of pops. There was lots of things kind of going on with the microphone that weren't necessarily great. So if you got super excited, it would peak quite badly. That was always an issue with that microphone. And any adjustments you needed to make had to be done after recording. So you would record, and then you would adjust in Audacity. That was it. I was trying to think up the program. But by that point, we were recording multi-track. So like James would have a track as a WAV, I would have a track as a WAV, Nick would have a track as a WAV, Alex would have one, Chantel would have one, like anyone who joined us would have separate tracks, and I could compress each track in Audacity separately. I could clean up the pops and clicks. There were some issues. Back in those days, I would spend an awful lot of time cleaning up pops and clicks. I would spend an awful lot of time hang on a sec, speaking of time, let's do this. I spend an awful lot of time like going through, and if someone peaked, I would like literally put a razor cut and just like flatline it or delete it or whatever. It took an awful lot of time to clean up the audio. The other thing that happened back then is I was also uploading from work because I was here in this flat, but the internet connection was 1 megabit down, and like hen's fart upload, like the upload speed was so bad that you just couldn't upload videos from the flat. It was basically impossible. So I would take the videos into work and then upload them from there, which went on fine for like a couple of years. And then I left that place, and the new place I would never like attempt to do that. There's no way. But by that point I had fiber anyway. Is it good? No, it still takes over. It's like an hour and a half to upload each video, but you know, it's better than it used to be. But speaking of better than it used to be, what are you using for audio now? That's an excellent question. So partway through a Skyrim playthrough, I switched mics from the Samson to the SM7B, the Shure SM7B, which is this one here. And I also put in a FET head, which adds gain, like 26 decibels of gain. So the FET head sits just before the microphone. Some people use cloud lifters. I think the American podcasters tend to use cloud lifters because the FET head is in fact a Dutch thing, so it comes from the Netherlands. So yeah, this is what we would use in Europe. It's nice. It uses phantom power and it's fairly straightforward. When it comes to cloud lifters, it's an extra box, an extra cable that sits on the floor, and it's not as like a simple a solution. So all of this is much lighter on the microphone arm than all of that stuff that we had with the Samson. I was like, wait, Samson CO1. There's a lot of acronyms to keep in your mind. It's like, I've got to keep all these numbers in my mind when I'm talking about this stuff. The other thing that happened was this is not USB. The other one's USB. This is XLR. So with the XLR, basically, you end up with like raw audio going into the computer. You don't do anything to it before it goes in. So the USB mic that has an amplifier built into it, so it amplifies it up. This doesn't. So I have a mixing desk which is just kind of down. Where is it? There. Boop boop boop. And that's a Xenix X802 USB. The USB is great because I can attach it to the laptop to record audio without having like the 50 hertz hum that you get from electricity supplies. So the hum you would get from electricity supply, the buzz, if you've ever worked in audio, is completely eliminated if you just use USB to connect it to the laptop to record. It's great, absolutely brilliant. But it means that I can check the dials from here. I can add a little bit of treble, I can remove a little bit of mid, and I can leave the bass absolutely alone. But I can also add a little bit of compression on the way in, because that particular mixer allows you to add compression. And I can also change the volume as well. I can add some gain to it on the way in. So this, the 7B, this is the original 7B. This is like the Michael Jackson mic. This is very quiet. It's called a dark mic. It doesn't use phantom power. So there's no phantom power in it at all. It is slightly, kind of slightly frustrating. The first time you get it, you're like, oh, I've just got this microphone and it's super quiet. What is going on? What have I done wrong? And the answer is nothing. If you have a super loud voice, then you'll be okay. But yeah, no phantom power on this. This, the FET head, requires phantom power because this does the amplification. The new 7Bs from Shure, in fact, do have... this guy's getting a bit fresh. Let me just take him out. There we go. The new 7Bs from Shure do in fact have an amplifier built in. So I think they have like a lime green coloring on them. You'd have to check the description. And I think the MV7Us or they've got MV7s or MV5s. They also have amplification built in, because I think Shure realized that rather than just singing, which is what this would have been used for originally, people were using these microphones for podcasting. And everyone was having the same problem. You need an amplifier, you need a cloud lifter, or you need something to make this work. But this is so much lighter. This whole microphone doesn't require a pop shield, and it doesn't require a shock mount, because the microphone itself is sat inside the tube, and it has a pop shield built in, and it has a shock mount built into it. So this whole thing is so much better. And being able to control the audio through the mixing desk makes the whole thing so much better. Like, this is where we wanted to be, but it took years to get here. So whenever I describe this setup to anyone else, and they're like, "Oh, I've just looked it up on the internet, and it's so expensive," and it's like, yes, but it took 12 years to get here. Like, you spend the money that you have when you have it, when you can justify it, not when you can afford it, but when you can justify the purchase. And the things you can't see, there's a light there, which, yeah, you can see it on my hand. And then there's a light up there, which you can't see on my hand. You can, just about. So there's a light up there, which is actually set to daylight, which gives us a little light from the top down. There's light here, which illuminates me. Also, if I turn my monitor off, the monitor adds a ton of light. So when you're setting up for lighting something like this, you've got to sort of take into account that your setup is going to give you a lot of light from the front. So you're not lighting someone on a stage. You're lighting someone who's sitting in front of a monitor. And I see this quite frequently. I only have one of those strip lights. I actually got that for D&D, and you can't see it. But I got that. It's an LED strip, and I got it for D&D, and one of them, I got two of them. One of them failed. One of them broke as we were playing, and it would only last like 20 minutes, and then it would go out. And if you've watched... Oh, I'm super red now. The camera's not... Oh, wait. Oh, that's why. I was like, I'm super red. What's going on? Because the monitor got turned off and the light got turned off. Right, I can turn that down. And then one from the stop. There we go. I think we're back to how we were. Yes, cool. Yeah. So yeah, there's so much stuff that you learn only after you start doing videos. One of the big things that I did before we were doing videos like this was I was watching other people's channels. Yogscast were around at the time, so Yogscast were kind of a big influence, one of the biggest influences, in fact. And I would watch their videos, and if they were doing like podcasts or behind the scenes stuff, you'd pause the video and just see what they were using. I was like, oh, they're using this. That's super cool, super amazing. And then try and copy it, and then realize that they'd spent over £1,000 on the setup, and it's like, I can't afford that. So yeah, we just got what we could at the time when we could afford it. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like the Sennheiser headsets weren't that great, if I'm going to be honest. Not that great at all. But, you know, I suppose it worked for as long as it did. The other people we watch, well, the other people I watch, because after a while, I think 2016, the channel started to become a solo channel. I think by 2018, it was definitely a full solo channel. I think 2018, it got renamed, because the original videos, you may notice, are Wild Slice Project videos. And the project was because it was a group of people who were doing the videos, and Wild Slice because the idea was the whole thing would just get condensed into Wisp. So we would just be known as Wisp, not Wild Slice Project. Nobody wanted to come up with a name. And like some people were like, oh, we could call ourselves Goons, Goon Squad, Goon. And I'm like, no, that's the biggest corporation in EVE Online. We can't do that. Although Yogscast is Ye Old Goon Squad, so yeah, because they were originally a World of Warcraft like raiding guild who did videos on the internet for that. But wait, there's more? Yes, of course, there's more. Let's do this. Of course, there's more. Yeah, Game Grumps. That's another big influence on the channel. Like just the way the videos are and how things are edited. Because I watched Barry, one of the old editors, describe how he edited videos, and he did a cool video back in the day, and it was things like sound levels and audio levels and stuff, and I still use all of those settings to this day, because you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it works, and it's really helpful when another content creator does stuff like that, just tells you what's going on behind the scenes, kind of like we're doing now. And I guess the other ones are VLDL, Viva La Dirt League, which I think I started watching a while ago. I can't remember, are they 2013 as well? But I think Steve Courtwright was like, yes, there's these people who do like Dungeons and Dragons related stuff, and it's the Epic NPC Man videos that they do. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this. I went back and was like, yeah, and it's pretty amazing stuff. I don't know how they afford to do the stuff that they do. I guess it's a lot of Patreon. So when it comes to that level of stuff, I can't afford it. I could not afford to do that, because they have a lot of extras. They have a lot of really good equipment. In fact, I don't know what equipment they have on VLDL, Viva La Dirt League. If you've not heard of them, I would definitely go out there and give them a watch. Definitely worth it. They do Tech Town as well, and I think did they start with Tech Town? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, we killed this lad too quickly, so we're just going to get the shark attack music forever now. Ooh, it's the curse of doing a vlog in Stranded Deep. Oh well, it's a Tigor. An adolescent Tigor. No, this is an adult Tigor, because the adolescents are more brown, I think. Oh well, you got 2 tons of fish on the beach and some shark attack music. Great, excellent. So yeah, Yogscast, Viva La Dirt League, and Game Grumps, and they kind of still influence the way the channel is done. Would you like to buy more equipment? Yes. I mean, one of the latest purchases is in fact that camera right there, which is a Logitech Stream Cam, I think. It's a little cube. If you look it up, it's like a cube, and I got it in white because that was the cheaper option, and it was on sale. If you have like equipment and you want to buy it, ow! Hang on a sec. I just need to teach this lad some manners. If you have equipment and you want to buy it, the best thing to do is just make a note of the site or whatever, and then just keep an eye open for sales. And if there's like a spring sale or summer sale or a autumn sale or a winter sale, because there's usually like 4 sales a year with a lot of places, then yeah, just wait for the sale and buy it. Don't be tempted to spend more money than you can afford, or even if you can afford it, don't be tempted to spend the full price on something, because it's just ridiculous. Would I like more lights? Yeah, I've only had one of those because the other one broke. I'd like another set of lights. That would be great, but I only really use it for vlogging. I have considered doing another D&D style series. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. So I got this, this absolute tome of a rule book, Vampire the Masquerade, VTM, which is part of the Dark World series. Oh, World of Darkness, that's it. So it's part of World of Darkness. It's not quite Dungeons and Dragons, although you can't see it. There's a cabinet on the other side of my room, which is it's this oak cabinet, and it's got 2 shelves in it. One of the shelves, in fact probably both shelves, are rammed with Dungeons and Dragons rulebooks, Cybernet rulebooks, Cyberpunk 2020 rule set, and I picked up this one more recently, and I'm just like, I kind of want to do it, but it's so much work. Like, one of the big problems with Dungeons and Dragons was, the episodes were only an hour long, but I had to go through and clean all the audio was the huge problem with that. I recorded everyone separately. Can't do that. So I recorded everyone separately. So you'd have Chantel, James, Alex, and Nick. The main problem was that James and Chantal are in the same room together. And that meant that James was picked up on Chantel's microphone because she still uses the Sennheiser PC350, the microphones that we used to use right at the beginning of the channel, like 12 years ago. That picks up everything in the room. There's no like noise cancellation on it whatsoever. So I was recording, and then what I would have to do is I would have to go through and clear up everyone's audio. And for James and Chantal, I would have to go through and I would literally, one at a time, for the whole hour, listen to it back in Audacity and cut out sections where James was like crossing into Chantel's microphone and Chantel was crossing into James's microphone, because she would key the mic and then wait for a time to talk, but that meant everything in the room was coming through on her mic. And it's not wrong, but because there was a slight delay between the two microphones, there was nothing I could do. I had to clean it up, and that was just so long. It took so long to do that. And then what else? Oh, all the overlays and stuff. It was a lot of. It was fun. It's a lot of work, and then you have to come up with the story every week for D&D, and then you have to be the GM, the games master, and then you have to like make sure everyone's entertained and make sure and then someone is like, oh, can I buy something out of a book? Yes, it's not in the main book, it's in Apocrypha. And it's like, oh, I've got to look up the rules now. So they'll be stopping, like making a note on a bit of paper, looking up some rules and stuff, and then coming back and remembering to cut that entire section out of the video. If you do watch the D&D videos, you might notice that there's cuts between I don't know if I did full screen, but there's cuts between different things, and every time there's a cut, that's probably something that's either been edited out or probably something that's been edited out, because I hid all the edits in like crash cuts or just hard cuts. That was a lot of work. But if you're like the designated GM, which I typically am, designated GM, games master, or in the World of Darkness, storyteller, you kind of do get the itch every now and again. It's just like, I do kind of want to do a series. I kind of want to see if I can do Cybernet and Vampire at the same time, like World of Darkness and but use the Vampire rules, because Cybernet rules are really messed up. I'm not going to go get the book, it's way over there. Maybe. But that involves, I could use this lighting setup. And this camera looks great. Compared to the camera that is sat literally 3 inches next to it, which is a Canon Legria, which I bought specifically for Dungeons and Dragons. The Canon Legria is actually kind of arse. So, I don't know, maybe I'll just give that to someone. Maybe I'll give that to Mum. She'll be like, I can record stuff on my phone, why do I need that? I don't know. Maybe someone wants it. But yeah, so in terms of equipment, in terms of the channel, in terms of like upgrading, looking back at the early videos, like especially the first videos that got put out, it's kind of cool to see how far we've come in 12 years. It's the equipment, it's the confidence in like talking to a camera like this. When we first set out to do this, would not have done this at all. because this is kind of nerve-wracking for a lot of people. Like, for a lot of people, just talking to a camera, being sat in front of a camera, it's fine until you're like, okay, well, it's time to talk, and they go, and I've heard people recently do a podcast with cameras, and there's been one guy, and you can hear the flutter in his voice because he's so nervous. He's got lots of interesting things to say, but yeah, the nerves are getting to them, and it's at that point it's up to the other people in the podcast to kind of like chill them down, relax them, like anyone who's more confident. But hey, you know what? It's fine. How long have I been talking for? Half an hour. That's crazy. Considering I came into this without knowing what I was going to say. Do you always do that? No. Sometimes I do 15 intros and then delete them all because I have no idea what's going on. Because I'm usually back home from work. So of an evening, I'll get home from work, sit in front of the computer like this, without the camera, and then record something like Stranded Deep like this. But, oh, that means my tea's been sat around for half an hour. Oh, cold tea in my tank mug. Tank mug? Yes, from the Tank Museum. How do you know it's from the Tank Museum? Because it says from the Tank Museum. It's the Mark V tank. So I got it when I was there with James and Chantel. I couldn't get a t-shirt. I really wanted a t-shirt, but I have sensitive skin, and their t-shirt material is too rough. But that may be a story for another day. I'm going to leave it here for the time being, because we've talked about microphones, we've talked about the first videos on the channel, we've talked about things have improved, and things continue to improve. If you were here even a few years ago, you might notice that things are a little bit better than they were, and that's just iterative. If you're doing your own YouTube channel, your own podcast, then yeah, don't be in a rush to get all the equipment all at once. Do just work with what you've got. Do what you can with what you have, and that might actually be more of a learning experience than just buying all this super expensive stuff straight away. And eventually, you'll get there. We all got there, I guess. Anyway, if you like this video, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe if you really like the channel. I mean, it might make you feel good. Makes me feel good when people subscribe. They're just like, oh, people have subscribed. Oh, they like me. Oh, yeah, subscribe. Like the video, helps the channel. Liking videos really, I mean, it's a really powerful thing. You don't even need to comment. But if you want to comment, yeah, comment down below, and I'll tell you what, I'll see you next time.